What's going on, y'all? How's everybody been doing? So just got done for the day. Started in Birmingham. Went from Birmingham to Charlotte. Charlotte to Greensboro, which is where I'm currently at. Not really a fan of the bunkhouse here, only because for whatever reason, I can't get any signal inside the bunkhouse. Something with the roof or something, but whatever. So it is what it is. So we're gonna talk about, can Florida drivers get decent miles? Now, of course, it's no secret that Florida is probably one of the worst states to be a truck driver, because Florida is just one of those areas where a lot comes in, but not much goes out. So can you still be a line haul driver and get good miles? Well, you can. I'm about to give y'all an example of a fast turn and a laydown from each Florida terminal. And you can kind of, calculate the numbers, and that'll give you an idea. So we're going to start all the way south, Miami. You have Miami to Tampa. Now, Miami, they don't have any laydown runs, none whatsoever. I don't even think they have any wild laydowns either. So we're going to skip up to Fort Lauderdale. So Fort Lauderdale, you have Fort Lauderdale to Tampa, Fort Lauderdale to Atlanta. Next, we have West Palm. You have West Palm to Tampa, West Palm to Atlanta. Next, we got my terminal, Orlando, also break bulk. You got Orlando to Miami, Orlando to Birmingham. Next up, we got Tampa, hometown. You have Tampa to Miami. Or no, we'll use a better example. Tampa to Tifton, fast turn, midpoint. Then you have Tampa to Dalton. Next up, we have Fort Myers to Valdosta, Fort Myers to Atlanta. And by the way, a lot of these Florida laydowns, a lot of them do go up to like the Atlanta area. Next up, we have Ocala. You have Ocala to Miami, Ocala to Greenville. We have a terminal up in Pensacola. You have Pensacola to Valdosta, which is also, a fast turn. Then you have Pensacola to Memphis. And the last Florida terminal we have is good old Jacksonville. So you got Jacksonville to Fort Lauderdale. And then you have Jacksonville to Richmond, Virginia. And those are all the Florida. And again, I just gave you just one example from each on the fast turn and the laydown side. Now, all these runs, regardless if it's a laydown or a fast turn, all of them are pretty decent mile fast turns and, decent mile laydowns. Now, I'm going to put a side note. Some of those fast turns, I was just summing it up. Some of those guys do hit 2 and 3 terminals. Like, for example, we have a run that goes from, Orlando over to Tampa, and then they shoot down to Fort Lauderdale, then, back up. But you get my point. So you could still, get some good miles. Now, if you're somebody in Florida that wants to do, again, line haul, and maybe, you want to be home every day, Southeastern, ABF, and Estes, I would not recommend, because those 3 carriers, depending on the run, you may not be home every day. Now, if you come over here where I'm at and you're brand new to line haul, you're not seeing that house every day. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen unless you get blessed with a fast turn big coming in. But again, that's highly unlikely. If you're somebody that's in Florida that wants to do line haul and you don't want to deal with working the dock, because I hate to break it to you, there are some carriers out there that make line haul drivers work the dock. Now, those of y'all that have been following me for a while, y'all know I came from AAA Cooper prior to coming here. Cooper is one of those carriers where a lot of times you are going to touch that dock. So if you don't want to deal with a forklift, AAA Cooper, Central Transport and XPO, I would not recommend. If you're somebody again in Florida that maybe wants to go the Union route, you know, you have T-Force and you have ABF. And if you're somebody in Florida that's just trying to get their foot in the door but can't really get in, you got Central Transport. Now, me personally, I don't recommend Central Transport. Use them as a last resort. And there's a backstory on why I say this, but that's, you know, that's for another video. Now, most Florida line haul drivers, you know, you do leave the state, you know, unless you're up north, unless you're like in northern Florida, central Florida, you go further south. But it's a good chance, you know, you're going to leave the state. I know with XPO, most of those guys, they go up into Georgia. Same with Cooper, Saya, you know, Old Dominion, you know, especially if you live in like South or Central Florida. Yes, 99% chance you're going up to Georgia, maybe Alabama, and you're going to either go to a terminal or you're going to midpoint. Now, of course, if you're wild, you know, here at Southeast, then, you know, there's no telling where you're going. Now, if you end up deciding, you know, to come here, as far as where you will go, like let's just say you're in the Tampa, Orlando area and you're wild, you know, states you'll go to are Florida, of course, Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee. Now, if you're up in like Jacksonville, you know, the sky's the limit since, you know, they're further north. They can go to a lot more places. And then, of course, if you come here and, you know, as a system driver, you know, again, sky's the limit. You know, I done been as far west as Texas, as far north as Fredericksburg, Virginia. So I'm not going to drag this out, but you get the point. You know, Florida drivers, you can still get some decent miles. Now, in my situation, you know, since I run the system, I don't spend too much time in Florida. Typically, I'm only in Florida Monday and Saturday morning when I'm leaving out and when I'm coming back in. But I'm going to wrap this up. So as I always tell y'all, thank you to all my new subscribers. Thank you to all my day one subscribers. Appreciate all of y'all. And as I always tell y'all, y'all take it easy and y'all stay safe.